Before you manifest the Lamborghini, there is a more dangerous question to ask. Who inside you wants it? Because the car is not the problem. A beautiful machine is a beautiful machine. Speed, elegance, craftsmanship, the roar of engineered madness wrapped in Italian arrogance, wonderful. Humanity has done worse things with metal. But if you want the Lamborghini only so strangers at a traffic light can finally respect you, then, my friend, you are not manifesting freedom. You are manifesting a very expensive costume for insecurity. And this is where most people misunderstand manifestation. They think it means forcing the universe to deliver objects, romance, money, fame, followers, applause, and perhaps a villa with lighting so perfect it clearly has unresolved emotional issues. But manifestation is not cosmic shopping. It is not standing before the universe with a luxury catalogue and a wounded inner child. Real manifestation begins much deeper. It begins with the question most people avoid because it ruins many beautiful fantasies. Is this desire truly mine, or was it installed in me by the Matrix? Because the Matrix does not only control you through fear. Fear is too obvious. The more elegant prison is desire. It teaches you what to envy, what to chase, what to display, what to call success, what to call beauty, what to call love, and what to call living your best life, usually while quietly draining your soul into a screen. So, before imagination, focus, and discipline, we must speak about desire. Because if the desire is not truly yours, even achieving it will not free you. It will simply give your prison golden cladding. Most people do not know what they want. They know what they have been trained to want. They inherit dreams the way people inherit old furniture, proudly, awkwardly, and sometimes without asking whether it even fits the room. A house becomes proof of arrival. A body becomes proof of desirability. A title becomes proof of importance. And a lifestyle becomes proof that the invisible court of society has finally stamped them with approval, though of course this court never meets, never signs anything, and keeps changing the rules with the elegance of a drunk accountant. Desire itself is not the enemy. Desire is fire. Without it, nothing moves. No temple is built, no song is written, no business is born, no ocean is crossed, no wounded person rebuilds a life from ashes. Desire is the engine of becoming. The danger begins when desire is unconscious. When it grows from comparison, it becomes a chain. When it grows from insecurity, it becomes a mask. When it grows from revenge, it becomes poison wearing makeup. And when it grows from fear, it may still push you forward, but it will not let you rest when you arrive. That is why so many people get exactly what they thought they wanted and still feel empty. They reach the summit, look around, and slowly realize the mountain was never theirs. They climbed it for ghosts, strangers, relatives, enemies, ex-lovers, algorithms, and an imaginary audience that, tragically, was busy watching someone else. The Matrix loves this arrangement. It does not need to lock the door if it can train you to run in circles and call it ambition. It sells success without freedom, beauty without self-respect, wealth without peace, attention without intimacy, and movement without direction. It turns life into a performance where everyone is exhausted, everyone is pretending, and everyone suspects the others received a manual that somehow never arrived. But beneath all that noise, there is another kind of desire, quieter, less theatrical, less desperate to be photographed. It does not ask, how will this make me look? It asks, will this make me more alive? And that difference changes everything. There is an ancient truth hidden beneath the serious spiritual traditions, the mystical schools, and the inner sciences. What you seek outside is often the visible clothing of something sleeping inside you. Behind money, there may be a longing to breathe without fear. Behind love, the ache to be truly met. Behind beauty, a search for harmony. Behind travel, the need to outgrow the small room of habit. And behind power, sometimes, the old wound of helplessness trying to become whole. The external object is not automatically false. Money is useful. Love is beautiful. A home matters. Health and beauty matters. Let us not become fake saints, pretending comfort is vulgar, while secretly refuse to fly anything less than first class. The material world is not the enemy. The question is whether your desire comes from your center or from your programming. True desire feels different. It does not arrive as panic. It does not beg for applause. It does not say, "I need this so I can finally prove I am enough." More often, it arrives as expansion. It may frighten you, because real dreams often do, but beneath the fear, there is a quiet recognition, as if some deeper part of you is saying, "Yes, this belongs to my path." That is why manifestation must begin with inner honesty. Not visualization, not affirmations, not vision boards covered in yachts, abs, and questionably happy people holding smoothies. First, honesty. Would you still want this if nobody applauded? Would you still build it if nobody envied you? Would you still choose this life if it could not be posted, praised, displayed, or used as evidence in the ongoing trial of, "Look, I finally became somebody"? That question is a sword, because when you ask it sincerely, many desires fall away, not because they were evil, but because they were never yours. They were costumes stitched by other people's expectations. And once the false desires fall away, something powerful happens. The real desire becomes clearer. A true dream does not scream like advertising. It calls like memory. It feels less like wanting to become someone else, and more like being invited to become who you already are. Once the desire is purified, imagination becomes sacred. Not childish fantasy, not escapism, not lying on the sofa imagining success while the laundry slowly evolves into a separate civilization. Real imagination is the inner temple where the invisible future first takes shape. Everything made by human beings had to be imagined before it could be built. Every city, bridge, film, melody, revolution, healed life, and new identity began as an image in consciousness before it became an object in the world. This is why imagination is dangerous to the matrix. A person who cannot imagine another life remains obedient to the life they were given. They may complain. They may decorate the cage. They may become very sophisticated about why escape is unrealistic. But if their inner screen has been colonized by fear, habit, and social programming, then the future cannot enter. A person who can imagine clearly becomes difficult to control, because imagination opens a crack in the prison wall. Suddenly, the life in front of you is no longer the only possible life. The identity you inherited is not the only possible self. The story people told about you is not the only possible ending. Something else appears, a golden image, a strange possibility, a future that feels impossible only because your current self has not yet grown large enough to enter it. This is why you must protect your imagination. Do not feed it only with anxiety. Do not let it become a cinema for your worst-case scenarios. Many people are already master manifestors, unfortunately. They visualize rejection, rehearse failure, emotionally experience disaster, and then call themselves realistic. A prophet of doom with excellent discipline. Tragic, but technically impressive. Imagination should not be used only to suffer in advance. Use it to see the life that calls you. Use it to meet the freer version of yourself. Use it to feel the shape of the dream before the world gives you permission. Use it not to escape reality, but to design a higher one. Because the image you hold within becomes the direction your energy begins to follow. But imagination alone is not enough. A dream seen once and forgotten is only a beautiful visitor. To manifest it, You must give it attention until it becomes a living center inside you. Focus is the art of refusing to leak your power into everything that does not deserve your life. And this is where the modern world becomes almost comic. We say we want purpose, freedom, wealth, love, health, and spiritual awakening. Then we hand our attention to notifications, gossip, outrage, comparison, random drama, and strangers arguing with the emotional depth of wet cardboard. The human mind, once capable of contemplating the stars, now loses 3 hours to a comment section written by emotionally unsupervised raccoons. Attention is not small. Attention is creative force. What you repeatedly notice begins to shape what feels real. What feels real begins to shape what you choose. And what you choose, patiently and repeatedly, becomes the architecture of your life. This is why the Matrix fights for your attention. Not because attention is useless, but because it is precious. Your attention is the steering wheel of consciousness. Whoever controls it does not need to control your whole life directly. They simply influence what you notice, what you fear, what you envy, what you desire, and what you forget. To manifest from outside the Matrix, you must reclaim attention as a sacred asset. You must stop giving the best of your mind to things that make you weaker. You must stop feeding every distraction as if it were a hungry little god. You must stop confusing stimulation with meaning. Focus means returning to the true desire again and again, not obsessively, not desperately, but faithfully. The dream becomes a compass. It begins to point quietly beneath the noise of the day. In moments of temptation, it reminds you. In moments of doubt, it steadies you. When the world offers you shiny nonsense, it waits with patient dignity, like a king refusing to argue with a street magician. Eventually, you begin to understand that manifestation is not only about attracting something toward you, it is about organizing yourself toward it. Now, desire has been purified, imagination has given it form, focus has given it continuity. But there is another force, emotion. Emotion gives the dream weight inside the nervous system. It tells the body, this matters. It turns a cold idea into a living possibility. This is why a dream must not remain only intellectual. You cannot manifest a future you think about with the passion of a tax document. You must feel it. Not as desperation, not as fantasy addiction or as spiritual theater, where you pretend to be grateful while secretly checking whether the universe has shipped your order. You feel it as inner alignment. You imagine the dream and allow the body to taste the freedom it represents. You feel the dignity of building your own path, the relief of no longer betraying yourself, the quiet joy of becoming more honest, more powerful, more alive. The outer image matters, yes, but the deeper charge comes from what the dream symbolizes. A business may carry the scent of freedom. A relationship may hold the promise of intimacy without performance. A home may represent safety after years of drifting. A journey may be the soul, stretching beyond the narrow geography of habit. Creative work may be the inner voice, finally speaking without requesting permission from the village committee of mediocrity. When emotion enters the dream becomes magnetic. Not because the universe has suddenly become your personal assistant, though that would be convenient and frankly overdue, but because you begin to behave differently. You notice opportunities. You make decisions with more clarity. You endure discomfort with more meaning. You stop quitting at the first sign of resistance because the dream is no longer abstract. It is alive in you. And then comes the part many manifestation teachers mention with the enthusiasm of someone discussing dental surgery. Discipline. Without discipline, manifestation becomes spiritual procrastination, a beautiful dream, a sacred candle, a journal full of affirmations, and absolutely no evidence that your calendar has received the memo. Discipline is where the invisible becomes visible. It is the bridge between the inner image and the outer world. It is how the dream leaves the mist and enters matter. It is how you prove to your own future that you are not merely flirting with transformation. This is important. Discipline is not punishment. It is devotion. When you truly want something from the soul, discipline stops being a prison and becomes an altar. The repeated action, the early morning, the study, the training, the saving, the building, the practice, the difficult conversation, the refusal to collapse into old habits. These are not random acts of suffering. They are offerings to the life you say you want. A seed contains a forest, but only if it is planted, protected, watered, and given time. You cannot scream at the soil every morning because the tree has not arrived. Growth has rhythm. Reality has density. Matter is slower than imagination, which is very rude, but also very useful, because it tests whether the dream is real or just another mood wearing perfume. Discipline filters desire. If you do not want the dream enough to practice for it, maybe you do not want the dream. Maybe you only want the image of yourself having it, and that is fine. Better to discover it early, before spending years building a life that looks impressive and feels like a decorated coffin. But if the desire is true, discipline becomes natural. Not always easy. Natural. You do the work because the work belongs to the dream. You return because returning is how the path is made. You stop negotiating with every weak impulse as if your lower self were a respected parliament. You listen, smile politely, and continue. That is when manifestation becomes real. Not because you wished harder, but because your whole being began moving in one direction. So the formula is simple, but not shallow. It begins by purifying desire, because a dream born from programming will not free you, even if it arrives wrapped in gold. You ask where the longing comes from, what it demands from you, and whether it expands your life or quietly enslaves it. Then imagination gives the dream a body. It allows the future to appear inwardly before it can appear outwardly. It becomes the map your energy can follow, the first architecture of a life not yet visible. Focus protects that inner image from the 1,000 little thieves of the modern world. Without focus, even a true dream becomes background noise beneath the carnival of distraction. With focus, the dream becomes a center of gravity. And discipline brings it into matter. Not dramatically, not instantly, not with cinematic lightning every morning, unfortunately. It arrives through repetition, patience, refinement, failure, correction, and the quiet dignity of continuing when nobody is clapping. This is manifestation from outside the matrix. Not begging, not pretending, not performing abundance while secretly drowning in confusion. It is alignment. The inner image, the emotional charge, the focused attention, and the daily action begin moving together, like 4 horses pulling the same chariot instead of dragging your life into 4 separate ditches. What you seek is within you, but not always in the form you expect. The freedom you seek may be hiding beneath your hunger for money. The love you seek may be hiding beneath your hunger for attention. The peace you seek may be hiding beneath your hunger for control. The greatness you seek may be hiding beneath a dream you have been afraid to take seriously because the world taught you to be practical, which often means obedient with better vocabulary. You do not manifest by becoming someone else. You manifest by becoming coherent with what is deepest in you. A dream born from ego will demand applause and still leave you empty. A dream born from freedom will require courage, discipline, and patience, but it will lead you back to yourself. So imagine boldly. Imagine the life that calls you when the world becomes quiet. Imagine the work, the love, the body, the home, the wealth, the freedom, the path. But before you chase it, ask where it comes from. Does this desire expand me or enslave me? If it enslaves you, let it go, even if the matrix calls it success. If it expands you, protect it by all means. Feed it with attention, give it emotion, build it with discipline. Return to it when distracted, refine it when confused, and trust it when afraid. Because the dream that is truly yours does not come from outside the matrix. It comes from the part of you the matrix could never reach. And when imagination, focus, and discipline align with that inner truth, manifestation stops being fantasy. It becomes the slow, beautiful, and terrifying process of watching your inner world take form in reality. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe, and as always, trust your wings more than the branch.